This is me trying to understand math, limits and continuity. So, what is mathematics? Repeated situations becomes patterns, and then we humans formulate that and predict the next stuff for whatever it is. And then limits. What situations do limits speak to? Who invented or discovered it? Was it a discovery or something else? Well, yeah, it was invented. You already know it to encounter a situation. So, why was it invented, and what the fuck is the situation, right? Because they were trying to find which is Sir Isaac Newton, and I don't know how to pronounce the other person, so I'm sorry. They were trying to find a single point of slope, but as they couldn't do it. Oh, by the way, I think it is also connected to the discovery of the patterns 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8. They knew that the pattern doesn't grow bigger, it just gets closer and closer to 1. That's one thing, yes, yeah. Because they were trying to find the single point of slope. So slope literally rise of a ram. So when you get closer to 1 point and 1 point, it gets 0.0, which is illegal. So, but they could make an approximation, but that's just nearly right answer, which is not very mathematical. So, and then maybe we don't actually need to reach to the point to know where it is. Instead of asking what happens is 0, they asked what happens as we infinitely get close to 0. So again, what is limits? Well, what if I asked what it is not? Well, my current take is it is not a value, it's not an output. The question it answers to is not where you are right now, but where you are heading to. Okay. And then the formula. Yeah. Well, it is just all about, what we just talked about. Yeah. So, how the fuck do we apply it in our lives? Well, an example I found is your speedometer. It tells you, your speed right now. Well, actually, that's just one thing. But the real thing is, what the fuck do we need to know, the speed right now? Well, I think it's a prediction of the unpredictability. Yeah, the questions next are, okay, the introduction is, if mathematics is all about patterns of the universe, and we humans, understand the patterns and trying to predict for whatever the reason we have, then what is the pattern in this topic? What are we trying to predict? What are we trying to know? So again, what is the limit? Well, my take is it's not. Yeah, it's not my take. Is what I found. It's not what we want to know, but what we want to touch, approach, or close to. And about the mathematicians earlier, they wanted to know the exact point of the slope, but as one point gets close to the other, finally rise over and they get 0/0, which is null. So they were like, what the heck? They asked, what if we are like, maybe we don't actually need to reach the point, but just close to it infinitely without ever touching it? Okay, by the way, the next thing is my thought. So think about it. Tiny, small, close, wide, beautiful, whatever, are adjectives. They're relativity and have opposites, right? They can't actually exist without the other thing. So yeah, this is random, but like the original gap of the slope, the 2 points of the gap, or is wide compared to the tiny gap that we actually, finally close to the other point. The gap is really close, which to our eyes is just a single point. The single point isn't actually the point, but a tiny gap compared to our human standards and compared to the slope gap. Something like, 10 versus 10. Well, yeah, 10 versus 100, 10 versus 1 trillion 10. That is massive. Okay, massive. Yeah, like zoom in. It's not the wait what zoom in or zoom out. I don't know. Like it's not the point, but the tiny gap. I'll even argue that there is no single point in the universe. You always find the gap and shit. Like for example, like you are on the circumference of the Earth, which from the outer space is a curve. But right now, what you see is, a flat surface which is straight, which seems like straight, right? So yeah, relativity. To be honest, even kids know this, bruh. Like, reverse that big to small, small to big. Like, small change affect big impact. Yep. So we don't want bad things to happen. Well, yeah, we are trying to survive, whatever it is. So we put in the big impact by actually zooming into tiny changes right now, and we control the tiny changes at rate. Yeah, limits are all about predicting the unpredictability. Okay, let me recap again. One, we want to know how fast something is changing right now. You know, and how that would change in the future of 0.001 second. We did sentence carefully, like how fast changing right now. How fast? What the fuck is how fast and changing? It refers to right now. Right now is right now. Okay, what? Okay, I'm really confused. Like, it doesn't ask for the average speed, but the rate, the scale. So like, what are we finding, bro? Like, well, it's a formula, not a value, not a number, not the end, but the changing formula. The rate of changes, like, looking at the reality, your car and moving 40 miles per hour every second, you sped up, you slow down, things are not linear. You know that too, right? Life, it sucks. Yeah, nothing's continuous or maybe something, but really is not. So, this concept in the mathematics trying to predict what is not predictable. Yeah, it's kind of cool. No, we are not gonna predict the exact output, but it's changing. Like, not even continuously changing, but unpredictably. So, I would say that like they're trying to find not the value or the final output, but the formula that changes with time. Well, yeah, I'm not saying whatever I said is true or right, but it's just my understanding.